call itself or the WebEx. Okay. And would that call into the WebEx or would that call in locally to here? Okay, so they can hear one another. So like Reggie and Tom, who's on as well, they can only, but we can't hear them. So that's the issue. Testing. Me?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing. Jonathan. Can you hear us, Jonathan? Okay. Right on.
Reggie, can you try talking? No. We still can't hear you, so it's. He can hear us, yeah. And they can hear one another. We can hear you guys now.
Leave it on.
You're on. Shut it off.
Reggie, give it another chance. We had some echoing and some audio issues here. But if you could just kind of restart towards the top, that'd be great. Yes. name is Reggie Kronstadt with the entity listed, and he's the owner of Crown Point Capital. It's with a K, correct? Krown. Hopefully we get too much feedback here. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Very happy to be here. My name is Mark Grocki. I'm a professional civil engineer with VHB. Our office is located at 100 Great Meadow Road in Weathersfield, Connecticut. Here with me tonight, not only Perry and Reggie, I have an expert traffic engineer, Charlie Baker, and my site design engineer, Nathaniel Fleming. So we are here for our application for site plan and special permit approval for a 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station and diesel tractor-trailer traffic operations. So what I have here on the screen, I don't know if maybe we can get the other screen showed here as well, possibly. Well, I guess just for you folks have to turn around then. The property for the development is numbers 35 and 53 Adawagan Crossing Road. This is an aerial image. There we go. This is an aerial image of the site. Number 35 is on the right-hand side here. Number 53 is on the left. 35 Adawagan Crossing is about 6.8 acres in size. Number 53 on the left is about 4.1 acres. It's about 10.9 acres in total, just under 11 acres. There is a wetland system located to the east over here associated with Adawagan Brook. And the zone of the property, the zone of the full 10 acres is general commercial, which does allow the proposed convenience store use by right and the gasoline station use as special permit. So both of the uses are allowable in this commercially zoned lot. So under proposed conditions, a couple more quick points. Obviously, Adawagan Crossing's to the north here. This is the I-395 off-ramp for exit 43, I believe, and I-395 just off to the west here. So under our proposed conditions, I'll zoom in here. The overall footprint of disturbance is about 5 acres, so we're about halfway for the full property development. The building, the proposed 7-Eleven building right central to the site, as mentioned previously, it's 5,373 square feet. There are 6 MPDs. Those are multi-product dispensers across the front of the property. These will be for your premium and your regular gasoline fuel as well as diesel fuel. Diesels will be at the far left or far right and the far left fueling positions. The rear of the site will have a tractor-trailer fueling operation. These are going to be 5 positions for tractor-trailer fueling. Each one of these fueling positions is actually double-sided for high-speed or high-fuel filling operations. So a tractor-trailer can pull in and fuel both tanks on both sides at the same time, get them in, get them out as soon as they can. Off to the east here, there are 12 proposed tractor-trailer parking spaces. Should a tractor-trailer seek to just relax for a couple minutes, enter the convenience store, and get a snack or use the restrooms towards the front of the site and around the proposed 7-Eleven. There are 35 proposed parking spaces. This is compliant with your zoning regulations, where zoning regulations require 18 spaces. The 35, the couple extra are just for convenience. They are a little bit larger as well. A lot of these convenience stores like to have slightly larger parking spaces at 20 feet long instead of 18 feet long. So just for convenience around the site. To describe a little bit about the traffic operations for the site and circumventing the site, there's 3 proposed curb cuts, as you can see. The westernmost or left-handmost one here, this is proposed to be an entrance only, not only for tractor trailers but also for regular patron vehicles coming in. Tractor trailers will enter this portion of the site. Patron vehicles can quickly slip off into the front fueling operations area. Tractor trailers can continue around the back, reach their MPD location, fuel up, and then exit
This easternmost curb cut is proposed to be an exit-only curb cut, and this will be truly for only tractor trailers exiting and dump trucks. The proposed dumpster location is located here. It's going to be adequately screened with arborvitaes, kind of tucked away, not to be seen by the surrounding properties. So again, as tractor trailers leave, they can either take a left or a right. Predominantly, we do expect traffic to continue left or west to the highway. And as you can see in this orange line here, across the entire eastern perimeter of the site, this is going to be a 6-foot-high white vinyl screening fence. We do recognize that we do have a residential property neighbor off to the east, but this is a significant buffer here. This blue line, for instance, this is a 200-foot distance to the wetlands. Again, I mentioned there's wetlands kind of down in this area here. So just kind of, as you understand the scale of the map here, our development is over 200 feet away from the residential property. We are proposed to be 200 feet away from the wetlands. We do have a little bit of filling and grading within the wetland, 200-foot buffer here. And just a quick side note, we did receive approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission for this minor disturbance in the 200-foot area here to kind of traffic and circumventing operations. As I said, all vehicles coming from the highway can enter this westernmost curb cut. And zooming into the pumps portion of the site, regular vehicles, pickup trucks, etc., can use the fueling operations, then exit this full access curb cut here. This is going to be the primary exit for passenger vehicles for the site. We did run a number of truck turn templates, large tractor trailer templates, vehicle turning templates, fueling templates, even RV templates. I'll get into that in a minute. So the site is adequately designed and has ample room to service a number of vehicles. For underground storage tanks, we have 4 underground storage tanks on site. There's 2 located right up here. Each of these tanks are 20,000 gallons each. They will hold the product for premium and regular grade fuel as well as diesel fuel. Again, as I mentioned prior, diesel dispensers will be on the far right and the far left. Everything else in the middle will be your standard gasoline dispensers. And off to the rear, to service the tractor trailer fueling area, these tanks down here, underground fuel tanks, these will be, one of them is a 20,000 gallon and the other is a 27,000 gallon. These are both for diesel. Just a quick note on these fuel tanks. They are double-walled, fiberglass double-walled reinforced tanks. They're state-of-the-art tanks. There's plenty of bells and whistles and alarm systems to ensure that there is no product loss or spillage or environmental concerns, and if there ever was, an alarm immediately goes off. 7-Eleven has numerous trained personnel for any type of hazards that happen, but these types of tanks are even installed in California. Earthquake potential, we don't have that here, but the point I'm trying to make, these are very, very, very safe, state-of-the-art designs, and we are very confident that everything has been done to make sure that there's no environmental concerns for an underground fuel tank at this location. In terms of the overall bulk zoning for the site is fully zoning compliant in terms of all setbacks. There is a 25-foot residential buffer setback in the front yard, which we are accommodating, obviously not for we need to access our curb cuts, but we have a 25-foot landscape buffer in front. All of our canopies satisfy building setbacks. We satisfy all impervious coverage setbacks. We satisfy all overall building coverage setbacks. So all bulk zoning regulations, which are summarized. We have a quick chart here. We can go into depth if you want. This is also noted on our site plans. Fully zoning compliant site plan. We're not seeking any variances here. In terms of utilities, we have adequate service from all the utility needs that we need. There's no natural gas in the area, and we're not using propane tanks, so all of our HVAC units will be rooftop screened by electric and serviced by electricity for HVAC units. There is a water main in Edawagan Crossing Road, which we will have potable water from. Electricity is serviced from some overhead power lines across our side of the street. And again, they'll service our HVAC units. And for sanitary sewer, down in this lower left-hand portion of the site, this is a proposed septic system. We wanted to keep it as far away from any neighbors as possible. Obviously, if there's any wells in the area, we're nowhere near them. We are coordinating with the Northeast District Department of Health Department for our septic system currently. We did recently receive comments from them We don't see any issues being able to satisfy those comments. They just want a couple extra test pits, verify some slopes of the pipes. So we're very confident we can get through the health department for our proposed septic system. Again, we're not using a well for potable water. We do have a water main at the frontage of the site where we can have our potable water from. And kind of piggybacking off of utilities, stormwater management is always of great concern. We want to make sure we're environmentally friendly with our runoff. Obviously, this is a significant project here with fuel operations. We have a number of BMPs, best management practices, proposed for the site. A number of catch basins with deep sumps and hooded outlets to catch floatables, sediment, etc. The large oblong shape down here, this is our stormwater detention basin. Prior to even entering the basin, we have what's called a proprietary water quality unit. It's a hydrodynamic vortechnic swirl type of unit. These are very effective at TSS, total suspended solid removal, capture floatables, capture any oils from parking lot runoff, etc. And then the final ultimate water quality measure is this large stormwater infiltration basin. You can see we did a number of test pits in the area to confirm that we have really good sandy soils, perfect for infiltration, very, very superior for water quality measures. And we did have some preliminary meetings with town staff, which they indicated that they want to make sure that we meet not only the latest state guidelines in stormwater management and water quality. The town has their own MS4 regulations. We took those into great consideration, and our stormwater management design complies with all of those. So should be no issues with our stormwater management. We are reducing peak runoff, peak stormwater runoff, and we're reducing volume of runoff from our site. From any impervious area, it's all getting adequately infiltrated into the site. So we feel very confident about that. Just to wrap up a couple more points here. Our landscaping plan, it is zoning compliant. We did select some hardy plants for the site. All plants can withstand winter conditions, salting, things like that for the New England area. It is a low maintenance style planting plan with no irrigation proposed, but again, it's more of the hardy plant style. We have internal landscaping here and here within the parking lot to meet the zoning regulations, so that is satisfied. Kind of what goes hand in hand with landscaping is our site lighting. Again, to kind of be that nice neighborly, not only do we have the restrictive fence on the eastern side of the site here, all of our site lighting proposed is downward cast, night sky compliant. We actually have a decent grade change. We have zero spillage or zero light trespass over the front property line. We do have a couple street lights at our curb cuts to make sure there's adequate safety and adequate lighting for our curb cuts, but again, there's actually a decent grade difference to the residential neighbors to the north. This house in particular is about 13 feet higher, if you believe it, than where our curb cut is here. So our whole site is actually sunken lower in grade than Attawagan Crossing Road. So not only does our site lighting meet code, well, we're doing the best we can to keep all that lighting on site, keep all that headlight, traffic lighting on site, and try to be, the best cognitive neighbors we can. Yes? Attawagan? Attawagan. I get the hard A there. Sorry. I apologize.
You told me not to use the mic.
Attawagan.
You got that?
I apologize for that. We received a number of town staff comments. This plan in particular is in our plan set. It shows a number of different truck turning movements, and in particular, I want to kind of focus down here. The fire marshal had indicated that there is actually a lot of RV traffic and large vehicle traffic in the area, and what this particular plan shows to respond to the fire marshal comment is we don't exactly have RV vehicles in our truck turning templates, but what we do have is large SU standard unit 30-foot or SU 40 box trucks, which are very comparable to an RV. And what these truck turning movements prove is that there is ample room to circumvent the site for these larger 30-foot and larger 40-foot vehicles to navigate through the site. So I just want to make that particular note that we are taking into consideration town staff comments here. We did submit a traffic study which analyzed Attawagan. Am I still saying it wrong? Sometimes the nerves get to you. We're getting there. We did analyze Attawagan Crossing Road. We analyzed the intersection with the traffic signal and the conclusions from our professional study. We did a number of traffic counts. They do indicate that there is no detrimental impacts. There's negligible increases in traffic when compared to the surrounding traffic network and the highway network. So we do feel that we will have a negligible impact on the surrounding traffic operations. And to that end, no off-site improvements are required on this local road here. So to kind of wrap everything up, again, we received comments from the fire marshal, we received comments from your engineering staff, received comments from the health department. Outside of a couple follow-up and responses here, we feel very confident that we can respond to all their concerns, make sure the engineering checks out, et cetera, and to kind of leave you with leave it to you for questions. We did submit a fully compliant signage package, and this particular view is the elevation with signage, but the elevation of the proposed 7-Eleven from an architectural perspective. 7-Eleven is trying to get away from that kind of old legacy look. They're kind of trying to bring it into the modern, kind of that more rectangular shaped look. A lot of McDonald's, et cetera, have this style of look. So we think it looks sharp. I think it's going to look nice for the community here. It's a great location right off of the highway. And I think with that, certainly happy to answer any questions for you.
What kind of curbs you gonna have on there? Curbing?
If there's a particular style, we can accommodate, but right now it's extruded concrete.
Concrete curbing? I'm just looking at, like, typically for snow, you're gonna be moving snow. I saw an earlier drawing where snow all on the edge, and
Yes.
so you got typically a Jersey, Cape Cod curb or something where accommodate, don't become destroyed, but
Well, a lot of times the Cape Cod curb is that bituminous berm. It's actually
Right.
weaker than the concrete that we find. So
Right.
we like the. It's
well, I'm just
basic-
looking at something that
Yeah.
after a couple winters, it doesn't all broke up and then destroyed, that's all.
Right. So we find that the concrete's a little bit more durable than the bituminous, but we can.
Whatever, okay. Do you have grooves at your pumps or some sort of, I remember a previous application where you had grooves in case there was spillages to
Yeah.
accommodate?
So they're not shown here, but what those are called, they're called positive limiting barriers. And they're,
Sure.
they're the V-notch grooves that would wrap around the perimeter of each pump, and those are for spill prevention, like you mentioned. So, yes, 7-Eleven is fully prepared for adequate spill prevention. A lot of times these pumps, if something extremely catastrophic happened and somebody drove off with the pump still attached to their car, there's actually a quick release. Only a few driblets of gasoline would actually spill out. It's an immediate cutoff. And the positive limiting barriers, the V-notch grooves are there to capture any minor spills. And
So you incorporate them?
right, yeah.
And is that set for the diesel pumps in the rear as well, the commercial pumps? What do you have for buffering? You said across the street, you're gonna have the elevation, you're counting on the elevation to be, help you in buffering for headlights, traffic leaving, so that the house, you got the one house right there, the other one, I'm not sure how much effect it would have because of, the trees, they get quite a bit of
Yeah,
trees in the front yard, but the sound, I think, is probably, if it could help.
So this may or may not look like the matrix. There's a lot of lines here, but what this plan shows, this is our grading plan.
Okay?
And the main takeaway, what I want you to see is that this main elevation, or the main grades along the roadway here up at elevation 293 and around the pumps it's 289. What that means is our pumps are actually 4 feet lower in elevation than the main part of the roadway here. And you can see these number of contours here, when they're tucked nicely like that, that's actually a nice slope coming up. So what is happening is that this property here directly across, it's actually 12 feet higher in elevation than our curb cut. And the elevations just continue to go higher and higher. So we've tried actually to kind of sink down our proposed site as much as we can, being at the pumps 4 feet lower in grade than the surrounding, or than the roadway right there, so.
So along that island there, is there any hedging or anything, kind of hedges or short, anything that might help with sound or?
Right now, I think we're open to discussion. We can either come
You
back
don't have
to.
anything in the plan right now for it?
Right now, it's what you see here. We wanted to try to get some view sheds to the building, but if should you feel strongly, I think we can discuss that.
Or just, it's just a thought of mine, I don't know what the commission thinks. And to the east, you said you got a white fence you're planning on?
Correct, yeah, so
To
this,
that property there?
yeah, so this orange line here, that represents a 6-foot-high white vinyl fence. And the buffering here is over 200 feet, so I want to kind of point out one thing to consider. We really try to tuck in the site as best we could. Not only do we have this 200-foot upland review area to the wetlands, over here, it's not exactly shown, but per some mapping, there's actually a what's called a non-access highway line restriction, about 160 feet. So this curb cut on the west, it's pushed over as far west as possible. We can't get anywhere closer to the intersection. So we could have easily come back with, I don't know, 10 pumps, 12 pumps, because we have the room to the east, but we don't want to do that. We tried really pulling it as far west and get out of that eastern zone as we could, getting as far away as we could. So I wanted to kind of make sure you keep that in mind. We, like Reggie said in the beginning, months of planning have taken place with 7-Eleven to try to tighten up and to try to optimize what 7-Eleven needs, but try to be that good buffer to the east and to the.
I just feel it necessary to try to make sure we got protection for the neighbors. 'Cause those are the ones that are gonna live with you the most.
Right,
and
right.
So I just wanted on the record what you're doing, that's all I'm trying to do.
Nope, makes sense.
So the detention pond in the rear, do you have access, is that fenced in or not fenced in?
It'll have a 4-foot-high chain link fence, that's standard. The percolation or infiltration rates of the sandy soils are actually phenomenal. You know, we have to test what's called for a 2-year, 10-year, 2,500-year storms. And I believe, what is it, up to the 10-year event, 2-year event? Up to the 10-year event, nothing's actually discharging from the basin because the infiltration rates are so well there. It's kind of the surrounding land that still kind of runs off the site that's keeping our flow numbers matching to existing conditions. But so there is access. We have a gravel path kind of coming around. There's a high level overflow berm here for, you know, any 100-year storm events should it happen. But all the engineering calculations have been submitted. We feel very confident that with the testing we did on site, this is going to be essentially a dry basin for most storms.
Maintenance procedures, you have maintenance plans for that?
Yes.
So the growth gets maintained and?
Yep, there's a long-term operations and maintenance plan submitted with our stormwater report.
Which
that-
is, just summarize real quick.
Yep, so it covers things, excuse me, like cleaning catch
So
basins.
how long will between cleanings of brush
Right.
and that kind of thing? And
So
basins?
it's typically twice a year, catch basins on site get inspected and vacuumed, any accumulated sediment or, you know, excessive oils or cups or anything are floating, vacuumed out. And then coming down to the basin here, minimum inspection. It's typically for the first 3 months, inspected once a month for the first 3 months for signs of erosion, make sure the grass took, it's stabilized. And then after that, once it's on cruise control, it's really once a year maintaining that this front area here, right here, this is called a forebay. And that's one more measure in the treatment train for protection. So if somehow any floatables or what we call TSS, you know, suspended solids, if they somehow get past the deep sump catch basins, they get past the water quality unit, they have to enter this forebay where this particular row here, it's actually what's called a gabion wall. It's a stone wall kind of wrapped up that lets water through. It lets any kind of other trash or debris behind. And yes, it'll be maintained properly. There's nobody, you know, they're investing a lot of money. They want to make sure the site's in tip-top shape.
We just want to make sure they're maintained so they can be used and functional too, right? So all these slopes, what's going to be it? Just that grass? Is it plantings?
Yep. Typically on the edges, we use more of like a standard conservation seed mix. This is a 3-to-1 slope. It's easily mowable, but you don't have to mow it, you know, every 2 weeks, maybe once a month if it gets really overgrown, or just honestly you can just let it grow for that extra buffer too. It's up to the landlord's choice. But yeah, everything's adequately stabilized. We have specific seed mixes for the slopes. There's a specific wetland seed mix for inside the basin, and then lawn turf grass seed mix throughout the site.
So those truck parking spots on the right to the east, I think if I saw this, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you had detail on the drawings of 53 feet? Am I wrong there, or was it a little larger? I don't think it was long enough, but then one of your details of your trucks is the trailer's a 53 foot, and then you got the horse, plus the horse. ended
Yeah,
up
so
being
for
another
instance-
10 or 20 feet.
Yeah, so for instance, this particular truck turn movement shows the vehicle backing in, and then you can kind of see there's still a good 15, 20 feet in front, so there's still room. This is a 35-foot wide drive aisle, so
So
plenty of
your
room for-
markings though are at a short distance, like that, so that truck, what
Oh,
length
yeah,
is that?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, we can certainly just adjust the markings to cover the full wheelbase here. But I guess my point was that, imagine a line we're projected from this curb line. We're certainly a good 15 feet away from that, so I think there's.
Well, I get what
some
you're
room.
saying, common sense you should try to avoid, but,
Well, that was a hiccup on our part. We can move the lines over.
do you have a plan, schedule with the septic systems? I'm not sure if you guys usually use septic systems or sewer lines, but, there's maintenance for the septic tanks. Do you have that, is that part of the maintenance procedures to pump the tanks every once in a while?
Yeah, that's not explicitly referenced in, say, our stormwater report, but, that'll be on, it's on the, I suppose it'd be on the owner to maintain the property and make sure there's a grease trap and a septic
Right.
tank, even though there's very minimal greasy waste coming out. There's no deep fryers, there's no fryolators, it's just kind of microwave pizza, but still, there's a grease trap, there's a septic tank, and then there's a septic system. And they'll all be adequately maintained, make sure nothing's overflowing over time.
So is that done locally or is that at corporate level? The
They'll
maintenance,
be-
the records for that type of thing?
You want to take
chime
that?
in? Yep, we'll work with 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven has a lot of local staff that'll assist in the maintenance and operations of the facility. It's not done out of their corporate in Texas, so local staff will be responsible
So
to
records
work
would
with
be
us.
on site for that?
What's that?
Records should probably be on site for that.
Yep,
is
we
my
can
question.
ensure that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through the health department's approval process and then continuing with the health department, they will require the records.
Right. Hours of operation?
It'll be a 24-hour operation.
It's gonna be 24. Commissioners, anybody else with any questions? John?
You mentioned that there's a four-foot
Mike on.
difference in the elevation. Out of Attawagin Crossing Road to the pumps in the front. What is the elevation to the rear pumps?
So you can, all of these lines are contour lines. So if we're at elevation 289 along the pumps here, we're going to be down at really the same elevation where the tractor trailer is, and then we kind of try to taper off to the east and to the south here.
So are you bringing in a lot of fill into this site?
Unfortunately, yes.
You must be, if you're gonna maintain that,
I mean, even to,
yeah.
full
Another question
transparency.
I have is, has anyone looked at Attawagin Crossing Road, either the town or the state, to make sure that there's enough road there for your entrance off of the off-ramp, for one, and then on the other two cuts that you have, where trucks can make that turn back onto Attawagin Crossing Road in order to exit? Are those sufficient? Is that road wide enough
Yes.
so that you don't have tandems running over curbs, running in and out?
Yeah, at least let me kind of show you our driveways again.
Is-
Yeah, coming.
Would the state get involved in that? Seeing that, one involves an off-ramp for 395. So it seems to me that federal standards or state standards would apply there.
Well, Attawagin Crossing is a local road. It's not under.
Pardon?
It's a local road. It's not.
Yeah, but you've got a off-ramp from an interstate
No, I understand.
that's making a real tight turn into your facility. That first in-ramp that you have. Are the radiuses and the width of that road adequate?
Yeah, you can even see here, if the tractor trailer should turn this right maneuver, this is about a 45-foot radius here, which is more than enough for the tractor trailer to turn in here, and then we have large radiuses on our site as well to make sure that we're not hopping curves and things like that. So.
Good, John?
Yeah, I guess.
Mike?
Well,
One question, where's the alarm center?
I'm sorry, the alarm center?
Yeah, if there's, something happens on site, where is the alarm center
So,
notified?
within the building itself.
So whoever's on duty will have to call 911.
Right, yeah, so
Okay.
as far as I understand, the operations for 7-Eleven employees, they're what's called type 1, type 2, or type 3 class operators. And within the store, they need at least a minimum of type 1, which is somebody who understands what happens in emergency situations, spill prevention, things like that. So 7-Eleven operations, you know, this is a very fine-tuned machine. 7-Eleven, they know what to do in the case of emergencies, 100%.
Now, on the east side and the west side of the buildings in the rear, between the two parking areas, between those two green circles, wherever, I'm just, you know, what's between, what, can you exit or can you, have a vehicle exit from, say, the gas pumps to the diesel, come down between those two areas?
No, so I think what you're getting at is, yeah,
Yeah.
if some were to enter here and then kind of come down here,
Yep.
they would intersect with a 6-inch curb, some landscaping here, and again over here, a 6-inch curb with a sidewalk.
So if somebody comes up with towing a boat or an RV, and really the only place they can park is on the sides, they gotta back out. I don't know if that's very safe. I don't want them seeing, I don't think they can park in front. I'm just thinking if you come with a trailer and a good-sized boat on the back, and we got Webster Lake that's up the road, and we got campgrounds, you got RVs coming up and people going north in RVs, they pull in there, where do they park? Especially if they, just wanna eat the convenience store.
No, I understand. The area over here is over 40 feet long. Certainly, anybody with a boat or an RV can park right here and kind of scoot out that way. They would have no issues with somebody parking over here. Even when fuel tank operations aren't in effect, they could park here temporarily.
Maybe sign it, you put a sign or something saying that?
Yeah, we could say maybe trailer parking on this.
Trailer or RV?
Yeah,
parking there,
yeah. I think we can easily accommodate that. I think we just don't want too much interaction with
No.
tractor trailers coming through here, but
No, I just,
there's plenty of room in this location here.
and that's just, how many handicapped in front spots?
There's 2.
Question. Sorry. I think you said that your property is 200 feet from the wetlands, and that has been approved. Is that what you said?
The proposed development is over 200 feet. There's wetlands on the property, but especially the curb line here, if you look kind of where I'm hovering, this blue line here is the 200-foot limit, so our curb line here is outside of that. And then we just had a little bit of fill grading in there. So yes, we're over 200 feet from the wetlands.
Okay.
Just getting back to what Mike was saying, I guess that would work if you had one boat pull in there, but what if there's 2 or 3, what if there's a group together? Looks like you could wind up with quite the mess in that area when they're restricted. Do you have an issue with them being able to exit that area if they get trapped in there and come into the truck area and exit?
Yeah, as Perry and I were discussing it, I think the reality is if anybody kind of comes in, sees that it's a little congested in here, I own a pop-up camper myself, and I kind of know that once you know the area, you know that this is going to be a dead end. So this space right here is 25 feet. You know, a typical car is about 9 feet wide, so 8 feet wide. So, you know, if you have a parked vehicle here, and if it's 8 feet wide, you still have another 16 feet to go for two-way traffic beyond. So I think there would be enough lane width to sneak by if somebody was having to park along this portion here along the front.
What's the concern with having recreational vehicles go in with the trucks? Because, I mean, you see that at truck stops all the time. You see people with Class Bs, Class Cs, and As parking in the same area that trucks go. What's the resistance to having an entry point into that area?
Well, I think it's just to kind of try to limit, you know, where people need to go. I mean, if somebody truly needs to have a little bit of room, I think they can easily kind of come down this area here and you know, temporarily park along this location here if they really needed to. You know, what we find out with the locals, once they start to understand the site, they know kind of where to go and they'll kind of park where they need to park and to kind of relieve that congestion. I think there's ample room down in this area down here. If it's a true sticking point, we maybe go back to 7-Eleven. But
I think the major concern about exiting through, Mike, where you had mentioned, would just be people coming perpendicular into trucks coming around that radius, and just the danger around people exiting through there, coming directly across the path of the tractor trailers. Definitely a hazard that we'd like to avoid. Definitely something we don't think would be safe. But we've seen on a lot of existing projects, as Mark had said, that the reality is people will park along that north side there. We've seen a lot of industrial areas where you get dump trucks and industrial traffic that's the reality of where they will park, and people get familiarized pretty quickly. So circulation through the site is and being safe on that circulation is of the utmost importance.
I'm not so concerned on the local people, because we know the area. It's, you know, if you travel 395, there's a lot of out-of-state New Yorks and Pennsylvania and stuff that comes up through that.
Yeah.
So
I think Mike
they
makes,
would know the area. They would know in that area, so it can get kind of congested real quick.
Yeah, we could definitely look at signage that would make the most sense, but definitely some concern around letting trucks or people exit perpendicular coming into that head-on traffic from the tractor trailers. But we can definitely look at signage throughout the site to make sure that people know, you know, do not enter, no exit, directional traffic.
Yeah, it's just that area looks, I know you said that's 25 feet wide, but just knowing the way people drive and what they do and where they leave vehicles, I think that could create, I mean, I'm not going to say it's an emergency or anything like that, but you could have a traffic back up there where people can't get through because somebody parked a camper and somebody else pulled in, and it's like, where'd I put my camper? They'll just park next to them or wherever they feel like it. And I think you could have some issues there. I don't know. It just looks a little tight to me. But I'm looking at a picture. I'm not looking at the actual facility, but it just seems like with people towing campers and driving vehicles like that in their boats, it could be an issue.
yeah, I think so. We did run a vehicle with a boat turning template, accessing this far pump over here. This front drive aisle is 29 feet, certainly enough room for vehicles to get by. So I think if you can kind of imagine the vehicle kind of just going across the front here. Again, there is ample room to still bypass and get by if somebody were parked right along the curb here. But running this, you know, very long 19 plus, so it's a 39-foot long unit. You know, the site does have room for that.
What is the possibility of having a parking attendant at all times?
I don't think that's a possibility, unfortunately.
What's that?
I don't think that's a possibility. I don't think that's something 7-Eleven operationally does across this area.
Because that would solve your problem.
Yeah.
I got one more. As vehicles and tractor trailers pull out of your store, that house up top, you're saying it's a higher elevation, but not higher than the road. Is there any concern or any, consideration of talking to those people, seeing if they want something in front of their house? Because as they pull out, you're gonna get headlights into their house.
So, maybe I can kind of point it out again. So, my contours aren't labeled. This elevation here, I believe, was 305, and we're at 283 down here, so, or 300 right here. So, it's a good 15 feet or so higher in elevation. There's a significant grade change right here. This is going uphill, and the other house is right about here, so. Again, there's that kind of 12 to 13 foot grade difference from our driveway up to where their house is.
You might just wanna make a note and talk to those people and see,
That's not a problem, Mike. On every project we've done, as Reggie mentioned, we've done quite a few projects up in the area. We always get to know our neighbors very
Yeah.
well across residential and commercial projects, so that's not a problem whatsoever. We can certainly speak to them and make sure everyone's happy and satisfied.
A couple follow-up questions, some comments made. So why you had that, the elevation drawing again? What's the elevation change to the house to the east? I know you put in a 6-foot fence, but what's the elevation change there?
This is lower in elevation. This is 260.
Because you go down through the valley there and it goes back, starts to go back up. So I'm just curious what the elevation is.
This is about elevation 266, and we're over here in the 286 range.
Okay.
So we're about 20 feet higher than this house.
All right, so from line of sight then, I don't know if you guys ran it, but the 6-foot fence is gonna be adequate to block both the trailers, parking there, as well as the lights from the building.
Yes, because they're 200 feet away downhill through heavy, where's the area up here?
Yeah, it's a vegetated
Still
area,
heavy
but,
vegetated area.
yep. 24/7 operation, you said. Are they gonna allow trucks to park overnight? Truck stop? Does this say truck stop, truck rest area?
I
You
don't know
know?
if there'll be specific truck rest area signage. At the end of the day, it is a 24-hour operation. I'm sure that some truckers inevitably will, but I don't know that it's the designated overnight trucking. I don't know, they won't be able to, if people do, they will, but the expectation is this is more of a through traffic than it is
Alright.
overnight.
My question is, will they allow it? Number one, if they will there be idling? Because I'm concerned about noise then if there's idling.
Sure, we can, we do have some representation from 7-Eleven on the phone. We can ask them about the overnight idling specifically. Tom, are you available?
All right, it could be a follow-up question too,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, we can-
But
we
that
can
just
discuss
is
that.
concerned with obviously the neighbors there,
Absolutely.
with noise issues at night. The stormwater calcs, so you guys, did you exclude the infiltration long-term in your calcs for storage?
I'm sorry, repeat?
So your stormwater calcs assume infiltration for the 2-year, you said, and I think you said a 10-year storm here. I don't think I saw that in the stormwater calcs. I think it was a 2-year storm was infiltration only, so you had no discharge. But is that assumed in your storage calcs?
Yes.
That
yeah,
infiltration
our
rate?
Yeah, our calculations incorporate infiltration in the model, yes.
Okay, so the size of your basin assumes you're gonna get that initial infiltration.
Yeah, the testing actually came out to be 10 inches an hour.
Yep, and you assume 5.
Yes.
I saw that. Yeah, but you still listen to, my concern there is the maintenance then on the pond. So when we typically do ponds, we exclude the infiltration side because the long-term maintenance, a lot of times it'll get silted in and that infiltration, minimizes, goes lower and lower over time,
So-
especially from a maintenance standpoint.
Yep.
So from a pond sizing standpoint, it'd be rather see it sized for that volume, even though you're not gonna get it initially.
Size for 0 infiltration.
Yes.
So one thing that we do have, probably, I guess, see, if you turn around here.
Yeah.
This particular kind of like serpentine shape, what I've seen over the years, exactly to your point, this is gonna be a 2-foot wide, 2-foot deep stone trench,
Yep.
specifically for that kind of anti-failure mechanism. And what we see is that it's kind of, we have nice decorative stone on top, layer of pea stone, and then essentially just gravel underneath that for 2 feet deep. And what that does is that allows the infiltration to get into the stone as a fail-safe and get down 2 feet deep into that sandy soil should the top course ever get kind of silted in over 15, 20 years.
Is that elevated off the base?
So, the top course of stone is elevated maybe like 6 inches because of how big the stone is, but yeah, slightly elevated, yeah.
Okay. They still will fail over
That's-
time. Depends on your maintenance. It all depends on your maintenance schedule, right?
Yeah, well, we,
Um,
for once, we actually had decent infiltration rates.
Yep.
I mean, I think McDaniel was out there getting up to almost 20 inches an hour, and that's just phenomenal sand. So rather than spend a ton of money to over excavate, we know that not only we're cutting it in half for that 10 inches an hour, then we're also putting in this kind of serpentine stone trench that fail safe.
Mhm.
I've been doing this 20 years, and as I develop my own style of stormwater management, I love seeing this kind of stone trench in there as that fail safe. So, and
Yep.
obviously, maintenance and property maintenance is going to go a long way, but I think between all the BMPs listed, I feel comfortable that it's an adequate design.
Okay. How do you access the forebay to clean it?
Through the gravel access path, you can get down to it. We can put up a couple gates in the fence here. If you need a little redesign, we can make sure the path gets down to the forebay, but right now the main function of the path is to get down to the basin.
Yeah, because I find if you don't have access to the forebay, they don't clean the forebay.
Yeah, we can massage some of the contours, make sure we get access right up to it and get a gate up there.
Okay. What was the fill volume? Was it 3,700 cubic yards? I think I saw something like that. Does that sound right?
I'm not sure where you saw 37.
Somewhere in that ballpark. Was it over 3,000?
It was much over 3,000, yes.
How much over 3,000? I thought I saw 37, 38 somewhere in the document.
I think
but
rough was more about 15,000.
15,000. Okay. All right. I did not check our gravel regs. Did you check our gravel regs? Okay. Did you address our gravel regs for that amount of fill coming in?
I believe it was mostly concerned with vehicular traffic.
Yeah. And are you bringing this fill in?
Yes, we would have to.
Yeah,
yes.
well, it's vehicular traffic, it's storage, it's management, it's a couple things.
Right.
And it mostly deals with export, but there's an import piece as well, that as you can look at that and make sure you at least address it. I did not look at that before the meeting. For some reason I had 3,700 yards in my head.
No, so we do have, it's all to be constructed in one single phase, but the ENS plan, the erosion and sediment control plans provided do break it up in kind of like an initial phase with
Yep.
sediment basins, traps, diversion swales, and adequate room for a stockpiling area. So as material gets trucked in, stockpile it, and then kind of spread it, build up grade on the site. That would be the standard approach.
Yeah, it just, please double check those, just make sure those rules are addressed so we don't have any issues. Why, you answered the question, I'm gonna ask again, why double the amount of parking?
It's, with these types of uses, high turnover, especially being right next to the highway, just having a couple extra parking spaces is what 7-Eleven would hope to have. Just make sure that there's convenient, it relieves congestion. I know there's some other gas stations in the area that may be a little congested, so kind of trying to open up the area a little bit, have a couple more parking spaces, just kind of relieves the congestion around the site.
Okay. Are you gonna go through the traffic report as well?
If you have any particular questions, Charlie Baker is certainly more than adequate to answer any traffic questions.
Well, I'll go to ENS, your ENS report then first, since you're sitting there. So, limited disturbance, 5 acres or 3.5, because you have both listed in your report.
That was a hiccup. It's 5 acres, yes.
5 acres, are you gonna submit a revised report correcting that? Okay. Traffic analysis. So, you guys compare the 2-year no-build situation. You assume 2 potential developments going down Blueville Road. Anne Marie, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the same development? We had 2 different applications back then. I think that's the same development.
I think it was the 2 different applications for the same development, but there's also a development that's already been planned, and I think that's what the other thing, there was another one that I think has already been constructed. But I was gonna mention that to him. It looked like that was, both of those were the same one,
Yeah,
but he had a different address for him.
yeah. So my question is, on that one, what do you use that future build to compare to? Anything?
So if I can request Charlie Baker is VHB's traffic expert, he can answer any questions.
Okay.
For the record, my name is Charlie Baker with VHB. So I understand your question was, what is the purpose of that no-build traffic volume projection that we?
Yes, what do you use that for a comparison?
We compare the no build to the build condition.
Yep.
Effectively, the no build is what we're projecting the traffic on the road is going to be like 2 years from now if this development did not take place. And then the build condition is the traffic conditions on the roadway 2 years from now if this development is in operations. So that by comparing those two, we're effectively isolating the impacts of the project.
And does that do you use that level of service on the no build 2 year out to compare to your level of service with your build?
Yes, so it's a true apples comparison of what would happen 2 years from now if it's approved versus if it's not approved.
So if that no build situation where you included that second development, it's actually the same development, would that change your analysis?
It by effectively double counting it, we would just make our analysis more conservative. So whatever delays we're projecting in our analysis, if we removed those trips, both conditions would just get a little bit better. There'd be a little bit less traffic, a little bit less delays.
So your build situation has that future build in there as your base then?
Yes. Anything in the no build is also included in the build.
Yep.
The way we develop the build is first we develop the no build
Yep.
that includes any growth that we're expecting from other sources over 2 years, and then we take the traffic volumes generated by our project and we layer it on top of those.
Okay. I don't know if we're gonna want a revised report to take that error out, so we at least acknowledge it, or maybe a memo just acknowledging that and having them state the concerns.
We also had the town engineer, and I'm not sure what
Yeah.
he's thinking. I think he was thinking the same thing, that just made it more conservative of what they were doing. So we could put a memo into that, or a comment, or have them put a memo in.
My other question is your land use code.
Mm-hmm.
Because you mentioned earlier that this is a truck stop, so is 945 the right land use code to use? Should it be the truck stop land use code?
I think it is. There's some, it's a bit subjective there on which one you use. There's multiple different land use codes for
Mhm.
gas stations. This one there's another land use code where it's primarily a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember, they're all similar levels of traffic generation. I think we did look at all those. I don't recall how much of a difference it was. If we were to
That's
use
my
it as a truck
question. If
stop.
you use 950, which is the truck stop, or 960, which is like the super convenience stop, gas station truck stop, if that would increase your traffic counts and change your level of service.
I don't think it'll have a significant impact, but if you like, we could take a look at that and provide a comparison
Yeah.
after this. I will say that there was plenty of capacity on Attawaugan Road, so even if we increased our traffic by quite a bit, it wouldn't change the overall conclusion of the report.
Yeah, my only concern is the intersection of 395 southbound, where
Yes.
the stop sign.
Yep.
And that's your worst one, I think, goes to level E, if I remember right.
That's correct.
Right? And that's, again, that is a traffic issue, especially at, when the industrial park people get out,
Yep.
right? That
Yep.
peak, and that's our peak afternoon.
Mhm.
So just curious if we're in increased traffic flows because of this development and what that would do to that intersection. The other stoplights, I mean, I think those will adequately handle it.
Yeah.
But just if you can look at one of those two other codes and again figure if one's more appropriate, because this is not just a gas station convenience store. This has the truck stop piece to it. That's what caught my attention.
Yeah, and
So-
the land use code we chose does allow some, truck fueling positions as well.
Yeah.
I don't recall if I could take a look at it and just compare what the level of traffic generation is. I think they're all fairly similar.
And when you do the 95th percentile for the traffic number of vehicles that are queuing, what
Yeah.
size vehicle is that?
I believe we report it in terms of feet, and the calculation assumes that passenger vehicles are 25 feet long. That's including the space between vehicles, the buffer between each car, because cars are much shorter than 25 feet. It also accounts for a heavy vehicle percentage that is based on the traffic counts we collected out there. So the software we use develops a formula where if you have X percentage of trucks of varying sizes, it actually has a breakdown where some of the trucks are, 30-foot long single unit trucks. Some of them are 62-foot long tractor trailers.
Yep.
So the software we use develops like a formula for like a distribution of different vehicles within that cube.
Okay, because I didn't get feet. That's what. So I'm on table 6.
Oh, table 6.
Yeah.
Oh, the unsignalized.
It was the unsignalized capacity analysis. When I was looking at the Q95, basically for that level E change, it said 3.6.
Yep.
And down the bottom it says 95th percentile queue length is in number of vehicles. So I was just curious what that
Yes.
equated to in feet.
My apologies. The newer methodology for unsignalized is number of vehicles. It doesn't. That methodology doesn't actually tell us what type of vehicle it is, but we could, if you wanted us to convert that to feet, we could develop a formula to figure out what the percentage of trucks is, to figure out exactly what the distance would be. But
And again, my concern there is, again, so the southbound left turn that's getting on 395 going south.
Yep.
So that's going to be backing up towards that light, which
Mhm.
does that affect the northbound entrance ramp, right? So that's the distance I'm concerned about. I was just curious what that,
I believe the cue there was as you're coming off the highway, waiting to turn left onto.
that's southbound, coming off the highway left turn?
Yes.
So that's 3.6 going back to the highway?
It would be 3.6 trying to turn off the highway ramp onto Attawaugan.
Right, so that's queuing back towards the highway.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And there's plenty of room on that ramp where they're not projected to come anywhere close to actually backing up onto the highway.
Okay. Those are my initial ones, so. Those are my initial ones. Sorry. Good job.
I think it's pretty factual that there's a shortage of bus stops for truckers. So if you're gonna have a parking problem, it's gonna be trucks rather than automobiles. The other thing is, when they're pulling doubles, they're not gonna be able to pull into your parking spot with a double, you can back things up there that's wrong. Do one at a time. So you better have some space available unless they use the fueling stations, to make a turn in order to get out of there. Because they're just not gonna be able to utilize those parking spaces that you have for tractor trailers. They won't be able to pull up and back them in doubles. You gotta drop one back it in, bring the other one up. So it seems to me that, if somebody goes in there and you're gonna have them, I don't know how many are out there, but, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna come in there, that's gonna wanna go to that convenience store. Not being able to go into your regular one, he's gonna wanna leave that thing for a bit in order to get into the store. If there's a spot where you can pull up alongside, just leave it there for 15 minutes or so, and go in and leave, knowing that he can't get into your regular parking spot, and you don't have to park.
I think the largest area for room would be in this. If you look on the kind of southwest radius here, there's significant room here for any tractor trailers to still kind of come in, kind of cruise to the site, even to come over to the tankers, but significant room over here for just that situation.
Yeah, sorry, just 2 follow-up ones. To Keith's point, the parking area for the trucks, you said was a little short, but you had that additional distance in front. Can you just double check to make sure that doesn't affect any of your turning radiuses that you showed on that 4-quadrant drawing?
Yes.
Because some of them come real close to that front piece
Yep.
of that. And then the second thing on the traffic study, so I don't think you went through the town engineer comments, at least it wasn't a response. Did you guys address all the town engineer comments? One of them had to do with the traffic study, further to the west.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance to formally submit responses. Every comment, even the last one associated with how the outlet control structure for the stormwater basin, I think we can easily respond to all those, and I'll let Charlie talk about the traffic one real quick, about the proximity to the Frito-Lay facility.
Sure. I believe the comment was that I don't have the comment in front of me, but it was effectively asking if we had studied the intersection west of the 395 ramps.
Yeah.
You mentioned that there is a Frito-Lay facility to the south there that has a lot of trucks that would be driving through that intersection. And the answer is that we did not study that intersection. We followed, in selecting the study area for our traffic study, we followed State Traffic Administration guidelines, which basically require that we study any intersection that is expected to have an increase of 100 trips per hour or more generated by our facility. And the reason for that threshold is that when you have less than 100 trips traveling through an intersection, that's a pretty small increase. We're projected to have, I think, depending on the hour, the time period you're looking at, we're projecting 30 to 60 trips per hour driving through that intersection, which is only one vehicle every 1 to 2 minutes. So that's not going to have a large impact. That wouldn't meet the threshold where the state would ask us to study that intersection. And we generally follow State Traffic Administration norms when we select our study area.
Mm-hmm.
I understand just looking at it, that doesn't seem very intuitive, that you see that Frito-Lay facility with a large number of trucks. You would think that a lot of those trucks are going to come fuel at our facility. And that's probably true, but just because the truck would be driving from Frito-Lay and then coming to fuel at our facility, that's not actually increasing traffic that drives through that intersection. Because whether our fueling facility is there or not, those Frito-Lay trucks, 100% of them are still going to have to drive through that intersection and fuel somewhere. So by putting this fueling facility there, we're not actually increasing the amount of traffic that the Frito-Lay trucks would be driving through that intersection. We're probably alleviating traffic that those trucks are going to be driving somewhere else, because most of those trucks are going to be driving from the Frito-Lay, refueling in this facility, and then turning around and getting back onto 395. So if our facility wasn't there, they're going to have to refuel somewhere else, maybe at the exit to the south instead. So realistically, we think that this is just going to alleviate truck traffic elsewhere rather than increasing truck traffic through that intersection.
Nope.
That intersection we're just speaking of, there's a railroad line there. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes a train will sit on that track and back up traffic for like 15 or 20 minutes. So I've seen traffic backed up past where this proposed gas station is going. So how does that figure into your traffic study when you have to deal with that on occasion?
That's a good question. Generally, our traffic study, we're analyzing traffic conditions under normal operating conditions. If there is an abnormal event that occurs like that from time to time, that's not really something we can plan for. If traffic does back up past our site, obviously that's going to cause increased delays. People in the 7-Eleven site are not going to be able to exit while traffic is backed up. So, I mean, like anywhere else, any of the residents along here or traffic on 395, if that happens, everyone's just going to have to wait for a few minutes for traffic to get back to normal.
Excuse me. So I'll kind of take you around the stormwater design. It's a fantastic design that Nathaniel put together, by the way. Initially, this front area here is serviced by a catch basin on the curb here, and then we have another catch basin just prior to the property line, so we're making sure that nothing's going off the site over here. There's a catch basin kind of off the curb, centralized at kind of this intersection here. Same thing with the center of the parking lot. Another catch basin centralized at this corner, and then down at the, actually I believe this is a manhole. So all this stormwater from this is going to kind of come around and get into this catch basin here. What we like to do is kind of have generally a high point right through the center of the canopy. We want to make sure all that, if any rain is blowing sideways or anything, we don't want to have any water rush through the canopy area, and especially the underground fuel tank with the manway covers. Everything is pitched away from these underground tanks in the concrete pad here. So as everything is collected, and I'll kind of go around the back of the site, there's a catch basin here along the curb to capture a large chunk of the drive aisle. We have several double catch basins to catch a little bit larger area. This is a double catch basin here, double catch basin down at this corner, way down here, and another double catch basin over here. So all of this parking area is collected at corners, at sag, low points. So everything is collected via the catch basin pipe network coming through the stormwater pipes here, coming down here. We had to have this particular catch basin kind of wrap around because there are a number of underground fuel lines passing through here, and we didn't want to cross the septic line, so this one's actually kind of wrapping around here. Everything comes to this, as I mentioned before, that proprietary hydrodynamic water quality unit. This is going to be one of the larger models just because of the amount of impervious area, but adequately sized. Coming here, a couple drop manholes, and then discharging into the stormwater basin here. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry, length exactly where? Oh, right in here? It's probably in the 50 to 60 foot range if you want to. I know that this here is 29 feet exactly, and this is wider. I could probably actually dimension it. I think it's in the. Actually, you know what? Let me flip it over to the dimensional plan. Yep. So it's a 25-foot opening here, entrance, 34 and a half feet to come around this way, 29 feet in front of the store. There's a 25 feet in front of the pumps here. Well, the original 7-Eleven design actually had that at 18 feet because we're trying to restrict people from going out that way since it's entrance only. The wider you make it, unfortunately, there tends to be a balance between natural people trying to escape the wrong way. I mean, we're going to have do not enter signs peppered all over that area. Right. So I think 25 is kind of the sweet spot because it kind of matches up with the drive aisle directly in front of the pumps. If we go any wider, I think it just introduces that desire for a driver to sneak out the wrong way. But going narrower, it starts to make things difficult because we do have the fuel tanks on that east side, so we do need to get the fuel tanker through here, which does have adequate room. We ran those truck turn movements. We feel very comfortable. We got to get them through here. Can't really choke it off. So I really do think we're in the sweet spot with where we need for allows. Yeah, I mean these kind of scales are interesting, but this is this is your fuel truck turning movement here, and as it kind of enters the site, there's plenty of room between the curbs to have this guy snake through. They can, yes, pass under the canopy. It's actually 14.5-foot high canopy, but just for conservative, we try to have them avoid the canopy to make sure there's a little bit extra room. It is a balance too because larger drive aisles is more impervious. More impervious is more stormwater quality. More impervious is a bigger footprint that goes against your MS4 regulations. So, trying to kind of balance everything. Yeah. I mean, we could take a second look, but again, there's kind of that balance between. Yep.
I'd like to ask, how many rest stops do you have in there?
How many rest stops are on
Yeah,
the site?
where they can park the trucks.
Oh, 12. there are 12 tractor-trailer parks on this east side.
Okay, but there would be no overnight parking.
I think as Perry mentioned before, we're not open advertising to overnight. I mean, I think somebody may, if they're super tired, may want to just take a couple hours rest, but we're not flashing a light, a sign that says come on overnight. That's not protocol.
Well, I'm just concerned because it is a neighborhood as well. And if you had several that were sleeping overnight in this day and age, who knows what would be going on?
I understand your
Rest stop
concern.
shouldn't mean overnight.
I understand your concern, but we're trying to do what we can, being buffer to the neighbors on that east side. This is zone commercial; it's an appropriate zone for this use. We have appropriate parking spaces for the tractor trailers. We can't control everything, but we try the best we can for planning and design.
Okay.
On that note, I can pretty much guarantee you that you're gonna have tractor trailers parked in there for the whole night, because if you go right down that Squattawagon crossing into the industrial park, they park everywhere they can. They park at dead-end streets, they park along the road. They've been chased out of there a few times. So when they see a legal parking area like that, they're gonna wanna sleep there. And I mean, you can't blame them. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, but you can expect it just because that area has so little tractor trailer parking.
Well, if somebody's tired and needs a rest for a
Yeah.
little bit, I think it's fair to say that you'd rather have somebody rested versus
Absolutely.
staying awake and who knows
I'm
what
just
happened.
saying, don't think they're gonna park there for an hour or two or 15 minutes and then take off. I don't see that happening at night. They're gonna be sleeping there. So just as long as you're aware of it.
Yeah, and I agree with that. They actually park on the off-ramp and the on-ramp to the highway right now. So I'm just trying to bring it up for noise mitigation purposes. Is there something we can address from a noise mitigation standpoint if needed? Might as well bring it into the design now versus later.
So all the lights are dark sky compliant, lighting?
Yep, downcast, dark sky. 100%, but keeping safety in mind, yes.
Anybody from the public want to speak to this application?
Also, we have 2 letters that we get to.
Donna Brownwell from up on Bailey Hill Road. I was concerned about the pervious surfaces. Are there ways that runoff or snow or rain can be infiltrated into the ground rather than having to go to the catch basins? Aren't there some surfaces for roadways or parking lots that will allow some of that precipitation to percolate down into the ground?
Mr. Chair, would you like me to answer that question? So, sometimes we've designed sites with porous pavement. It's an asphalt pavement with a porous material. It has a lot of voids and it will infiltrate stormwater right into the pavement. Those have a lot of difficulties in the New England region, especially when you introduce salting and sanding on roads. Those little pores tend to bind up. We have done those in other communities, and it's really not the right fit, particularly for here. Especially, we don't want to kind of compromise those underlying soils in the pavement, and it will get clogged up with with sands and salts over time. But coupled with that, because we're going to be getting this kind of tractor trailer traffic, the turning movements for the wheels can degrade asphalt quicker than normal. But then if you introduce this weaker porous pavement, it's just a recipe for disaster where that porous pavement will really start to degrade. And I guess kind of tertiary to that, third, being this fuel truck operation with underground fuel tanks, obviously nobody wants to spill. 7-Eleven is very formal about their spill procedures, but we don't want porous pavement being kind of like a direct route for any minor spills, major spills, whatever have you, to get directly into the ground. So with the stormwater management design, everything's collected in these catch basins, like I said. There's actually hoods over the outlet. So if you have an outlet pipe with a hood over it, the water is gonna be in all the floatables and oils and everything's gonna float. So any other stormwater has to go under the hood and out. And then, as I described, the stormwater basin here, that is an infiltration basin. So as water passes through catch basins and our water quality units in our 4 bays, and then finally goes into our infiltration basin, all that water is cleaned through the infiltration mechanism. So there is infiltration on the site. It's just not at the pavement level. It's at our stormwater basin.
Okay.
Donna, just so you know, we don't normally answering questions for the public comment. It was just with minimal here. I thought it would appropriate, so. Anybody else want to speak to this application?
Ula's going to read one of the letters. The woman requested that she read the letter into the
Okay.
record.
I'm reading into the record a letter submitted by Jasmine Birdie of 125 Lake Road, Dayville, Connecticut. Killingly Planning and Zoning. Dear Commission members, my name is Jasmine and I live on Lake Road in Dayville. I am speaking tonight in regards to the proposed 7-Eleven gas station. The location of the proposed 5,400-foot gas station, if approved, would be built at a location of 35 to 53 Attawagan Crossing Road off of exit 43 from 395. I'm not in support of this due to the numerous gas stations that already exist. Let me list the names and locations. Currently, there is a Shell gas station less than 2 miles from the proposed site. Mobil gas station 2 miles from the proposed site. Another Shell gas station 2.5 miles from the proposed site. Gulf in Dayville 2.5 miles from the proposed site, and a Sunoco gas station 3.6 miles from the proposed site. Lake Road already has high traffic from tractor trailers, dump trucks, etc. Even though these vehicles are not allowed on the road, they still drive on it every day, multiple times a day, despite the signs on the road of no tractor trailers. I do not support this because there will be much higher traffic of vehicles on the road where I have small children. People claim to want to keep Killingly a small town and claim to love the small town feel. Killingly offers. By approving this proposed project, you are taking that away from us citizens. How does this affect the sewer moratorium? Will this affect the wastewater capacity? Having too many gas stations in one town can cause negative health effects, greater traffic, and increased environmental hazards. Other risks include the contamination of groundwater from leaks contaminating the soil, and even the vapor recovery system leaks can still happen. Noise pollution and cancer risks from a higher cumulative concentration of harmful vapors, including the cancer-causing agent benzene. Lastly, how would other neighbors feel with increased traffic and noise disturbances? I want Killingly to stay the small town that we all know and love. If we continue to allow commercial businesses to be built all over Killingly, we will lose what we love most about our town. I certainly do not want more noise than what there is already coming from the traffic near Industrial Park. I also want to preserve our small town feel and our wooded areas. Please consider the negative impact this could have and stop thinking solely about the money in this town's pockets. Thank you for your time. Respectfully, Jasmine.
There's another one here from a Caitlin Huber, or Uber. Basically, it says, "Good afternoon. I write not only as a resident of Killingly, but someone who formerly lived close to the area in question to express my concern regarding the special permit in question." And then she's asking that the commission decline the permit for a few reasons. You know, first she's saying residential area. I have to be, I've been told before I cannot read word for word. Is that correct, attorneys? Or can I read word for word?
You don't need to read it at all.
Okay.
Is the law, but if you wanted to read it, you have time to read it, you can read it.
Okay, then she's concerned about adding a convenience store to the location, that it will have significant impact on the surrounding homeowners. And also, she said that they already have quite a few gas stations in the area, and she does not believe that there's had such an increase in the town's population to justify the need for more gas stations. Then it says that other places in town are sitting vacant that could be redesigned. where we could put a similar business without negatively impacting in the environment or residential areas. And then it was, she signed it, sincerely a concerned resident.
You all set? You wanna bring something up?
We have somebody at the microphone.
Oh. Sorry.
Sorry, Michelle Murphy, 325 Breakneck Hill Road, Dayville, Connecticut. My concerns are what you guys said, basically, light and sound for those neighbors across the street. Like, I appreciate that. And I hope that we do something to mitigate that, because I would not want to be that person with 18-wheelers suddenly coming in and out all night long. Security, I would have a security concern if we're going to sleep all night. I didn't realize it's really a truck stop, like a real truck stop, not just a temporary thing. And so I don't know, will we just pick that up with the police? Like, is that going to be on us? You know, if stuff starts to happen with trucks being there all night. Also, like the roads, I have concern about, so are we going to get a lot of extra wear and tear on that road, and will there be any money to fix them, or is that going to be all on us? Is that going to be offset by revenue we would have? Like, how is that going to work? See if there's anything else. I just want to make sure I understand. So the gas station is a special permit, but the 7-Eleven is an as-a-right. Is that it? You guys, thank you.
The 7-Eleven, when it was originally put in, it was as of right, but you sent us something, and I wanted to ask you that. You sent us something that shows a lot of alcohol. That is a special permit. So the 7-Eleven, the special permit would be a special permit if there's actually, are they going for the liquor license?
We apologize if there's any confusion. There will be no alcohol served.
Then with it just being a general commercial with no alcohol, then it's just as of right.
I think to solve your problem, if you had, and I'm not saying it would, I'd say a yes or no based on this, but from what I'm hearing, if you had a parking attendant 24/7, you could avoid a lot of these issues. Now, I'm not saying my vote would be if you did or didn't have it. I just hear from the people and see the problems that they're saying, that some of that could be eliminated.
Can you go to your dimensional plan again, please? What was the curb cut on the exit for the trucks?
35 feet.
So I just pull up our rules to make sure we hit everything, but, and Anne Marie, correct if I'm wrong, our rule says no curb cuts greater than 30 feet in width?
If that's what you're reading, but I also know that when the fire marshal was looking at it, he liked the idea that it was 35 feet for the fire trucks.
Understood, but do we need a variance? How do we address, if our rules say no greater than 30 feet?
But
How do we get 35?
Is that with a special permit?
It'd be, you can't vary it, you can't vary it, they can get a variance, or you can modify the regulation change, but if that section is written as maximum width, you've got to follow it.
Yeah, it says no curb cut shall be greater than 30 feet in width, and no part of any curb shall be within 25 feet on each side or rear line, so. I thought you said 35, that's why I wanted to make sure I double checked it. So that's number one. And then, Anne Marie, I can't remember what this means. And I am looking at the 22 rules. I think these are the most current. At least that's the version I have in my book. So,
What section are you
I don't know what this bullet means.
in? No, what section is this?
General commercial,
Okay.
420. 420.2. All right, 2022 version. What's the first bullet mean?
Oh, you're talking about the first bullet point about the CDA approval?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's inconsistent with the general statutes, so
Microphone, microphone.
I looked at that before the meeting tonight. The general statutes have changed. There was a point in time, your regulations say that the ZBA is supposed to issue approvals for gas stations, automobile dealerships, and repairers. The general statutes keep getting changed back and forth over the decades, but the statutes currently make this commission the decision maker with respect to a gas station. So, so no ZBA approval is
Okay.
required for that. And I'll also mention, I sent an email to Anne Marie about this, is next time you do your regulation changes, because with respect to the others, which aren't relevant here, which is dealers and car repairers, now that's decided by the zoning enforcement officer, the building official, and the fire marshal. So the ZBA doesn't do any of that work any longer.
Okay, so that bullet, I was curious with that one, but the second bullet, the one that's the one.
They either need an amendment to the regulation, or they need a variance on that second bullet point that Brian raised with respect to the curb cut, or modify their plan if it's possible to safely have an entrance that's only 30 feet in size.
Sure.
So, it's not a question, just a general comment. I understand we have an issue with the 30 versus 35, but personally, I like the 35, because anything that prevents a tractor trailer from being in the oncoming lane as you're coming around the corner, well, there's no corner there, but you know what I mean. You're driving down the road, all of a sudden, I'm turning this way, and you gotta stop to let him on. I think the 35 feet is a good idea, if we can get that through somehow to alleviate that, give them more room to make that cut, is a good thing. And I just had a question, maybe with staff. I know some of the industrial park, if not all of it, is considered an aquifer zone with special. Some of it is. It's not in the aquifer zone? Okay,
No.
thank you.
Okay, anything else, Brian, or?
No.
All right. Any other commission questions? Staff?
So I just want to put some clarification. Is this something that the commission will be continuing this hearing till next month then to get some of these things resolved, or?
What were the issues, Brian? Can you summarize what, I think yours were the ones.
Is that unusual?
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I've got 7, 8 cleanup bullets that I just let you guys address. I'll go through them if you want. One is, again, I'd like to figure out a way, if there is overnight parking, we all agree there's gonna be some sort of noise mitigation along that eastern boundary. I know you got 200 feet of buffer, I know you got all that there, but if that can be looked at, or at least addressed in the public hearing, addressing the gravel regs, or at least acknowledging you looked at the gravel regs and can address any issues in the gravel regs. Formal response to the town engineer comments. You're gonna relook the turning radius based on the truck parking dimension change that the chairman brought up. Traffic analysis, you're gonna look at the land use code review and decide if there's any major changes or issues with that. Stormwater calcs, and you're gonna fix the error, or at least put a memo in file around land disturbance. Again, clean up 3.5 acres versus 5 in the document. Just gonna clean that up. And obviously the last one here is we're gonna address what the zoning rules say, 30-foot versus 35-foot curb cut, whether that's a variance or whether or not we can alter it. Again, I'm trying to scan the rules right now, I don't remember. We're gonna figure out how to adjust that, so it's basically technology. So those are my.
And, yeah, whatever comments that we had, I know, at least consideration on a hedgerow or something on that island where the sign goes, you know, not necessarily an 8-foot or 10-foot tall hedgerow, but something low, just help buffer some noise more than anything.
On that eastern side with the fences?
No, No, on your island in the middle, the big
Oh,
long.
the northern side.
He's talking
Yeah.
north.
North side, yes, there we go.
I've got one question. What is the width of, that one crossing road? You know, I'd
I'm
like
not
to know
sure.
that. Because whatever I've observed in that area, when tractor trailers are either exiting or entering, they seem to go right into the opposite lane. And again, I'm gonna bring up that, first entrance that you had into that facility.
Top left.
It seems to me that a truck going northbound on that exit lane, then going into your facility, it's gonna end up into that other lane. Some of those things are 60 feet long.
Do you want me
Depending upon where the.
to, is it okay to
drainage is,
respond at this time?
Yeah, this is still
No,
public hearing.
So I'd like to know what the width of that road is.
Well, we did, again, with the screen here, we did run a number of truck turn movements, and they are on their respective sides of the road here. I don't know if I can necessarily define that right now.
The hearing should stay open.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It sounds like we've got someone that may want to talk. We've got a number that's showing up, that's 959, then it's 9 ... ends in 39. Do you have something to say?
Yes, I do. This is Jason Anderson, 125 Lake Road. I just had a couple of questions regarding this. In regards to state statute 22A 174-18, which is regarding idling laws for the state of Connecticut, the 3-minute idling laws. I know there are some exceptions to this. My question would be if the developer and 7-Eleven are going to do anything to enforce the 3-minute idling laws, if they're going to post any signs on premises, considering they're going to have all these tractor trailer truck parking, are they going to have anything on site to allow, I know there are truck stops on 95 that have the ability to pump hot air and cold air into a tractor. If someone's going to be parking overnight for an extended, or during the day at any point for an extended period, during hotter times or colder times. The question I have is, I know when NTE did their traffic study years ago, they had to confer with DOT as far as how much traffic may back up on the ramps onto the highway, to see if that was going to cause any issue or not. I also have concern with traffic on Lake Road. A lot of truck drivers, and almost every truck driver I know is on GPS. And if they put in for fuel in their route, my concern would be if they're coming from Pomfret on 101 into Killingly, and they had selected the 7-Eleven truck stop, the GPSs will take them down through the residential area of Lake Road, which also during NCE's traffic study, the S-turn on Lake Road was identified to not meet state regulations for tractor trailer traffic. So my other concern would be how to prevent tractor trailer traffic from traveling through the S-turns on Lake Road to get to this facility if anyone's heading in that direction on 101 and then heading 395 minutes. And those were my only questions I have right now.
Any response?
Yeah, I think I heard a couple of points there. We can certainly put signage up for the non-idling over the 3 minutes. Charlie had went through the traffic report in great detail and had concluded that there's no significant impacts on the surrounding roadways.
And the last one is there will be no equipment for trucks to pump hot or cold air into their cabs.
Yeah, it's not a true truck stop with showers or anything like that. It's not. That's why we kind of hesitate with the word truck stop. It's not truly that, but truck fueling operations.
I mean, maybe signage for no running of engines after
Right.
5 minutes or
Not
something.
idling, yeah.
Yeah, idling, there you go. Anything else?
I'm not a truck expert, but I know that when it's really cold in the wintertime, those guys do not like to shut those diesels off. So they keep them running when they're sleeping, to stay warm and makes it so the truck will start. So, I don't know, I think if you have a sign out there saying idling for 5 minutes, they're gonna ignore it unless somebody enforces it, you know? The other point I wanted to make was when Jason was talking about the other end of Lake Road, it's super, I mean, everybody here probably has been up there. The road is like really tight, and there's already trucks that ignore that. You come around a corner there, all of a sudden it's a tractor trailer in the middle of an S-curve on that road. It's like insane that they do it, but they still do it. So I don't know if that's something that the town should look at, enforcing that section of road or what, because that gets ignored all the time.
I would question whether or not that's related to this project.
No, I agree.
That's 3 miles down the road, you know, and granted, if somebody violates, it was posted, no trucks, right? So they're in violation if they use it. I mean, that's a town
Well,
issue. I don't know if they are.
John, that's why I'm saying that the town should, not them, the town should look at enforcing that section of road. Because if GPS does tell them there's a truck stop down there, and they go that route and ignore the signs, the town should be enforcing something over there, because it's a hazardous situation when trucks ignore that and go down that section of road. It's like somebody's driveway. It's, you know, completely inadequate for tractor trailer traffic.
Should be enforced regardless.
Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah, that's another issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's separate.
We should bring that up later. All right, anybody else from the public wants to speak to this at all? It looks like, I don't know, if the commission agrees, looks like this will be continued. Anything else for the evening, commissioners, staff? Anything else you'd like to add as the applicant? Anything you want to add, Dal?
Yeah, no, first off, we appreciate everyone's time and considerations tonight. And I think with that, we would just like to request that we're confident that we can answer all the questions and clarifications, both more general as well as more technical. We feel very confident in that. So I guess the request we would have is if these could be posted as a potential condition of approval with the application, we'll definitely submit formal responses to town staff, to the commission.
What were the
to
issues
ensure that they're all
Brian?
met.
They were your issues, so.
I don't think they can all be addressed with conditional approvals. The biggest one being, how do we address the variance / curb cut question?
Right.
So that one I can't answer right now because I didn't find an answer yet. So,
Sorry. I think first, we would either look at applying for a variance, or secondly, looking at the possibility of reducing it down to 30 feet. However, we did receive feedback in a TRC meeting with town staff, such as fire marshal, that the preference is to have 35 feet.
and I'm not arguing 30 feet. I'm just,
Yeah.
again, if you come to a lot of these meetings, I'm a stickler for the rules, and
Yeah,
it's there.
100%.
We need to abide by them or fix them.
Absolutely. So I guess if there's an option to add that as a condition of approval that a
Yeah.
variance needs to be obtained, we'd be happy to start that process and procedure.
Yep, and then the other ones, like I said, a lot of them are again, just corrections and errors. But since we're keeping it open, we just have them corrected and go from there.
So, Mr. Slater, we'd have to wait before we can do any acting on it for that particular issue, correct?
Right, you should. I mean, in my view, it's the commission's decision, because it seemed like there were substantial changes that the commission should see, not just something given to staff. So I agree with Commissioner Clark, it makes more sense to make it continue, keep it open so that they can address all of these things and present it to the commission. Because if they just give conditional approvals, your commission's not going to see it.
Right. Okay. All right, then, can I have a motion?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Sure.
If it's continued, does it open up to the public again?
Yeah, it's still a public
Yeah,
hearing.
the public hearing is still open.
It's still open?
Yeah.
Well, what the chair should hopefully say is that you don't need to hear what was already presented tonight. So hopefully the public would, and that doesn't always happen, but hopefully you can encourage the public to the extent that they, but there wasn't a lot submitted tonight. But ideally, when people do make a presentation, they don't do it a second time.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for, I can't say it, 1356
Second?
to the next meeting. How's that?
I believe the date would be November 17th.
Yep.
Monday, November 17th.
Okay. John seconds the motion, Brian's motion. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right, so we'll see you next month, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Okay. New business re-subdivision. Anne Marie, you want to discuss this of 251358? I'm friendly with her, so I'm gonna act out on this.
Is that all it takes, to just be friendly with people?
No, I'm not, I got a business relationship,
Oh,
so.
kidding. I'll use that all the time. I know that person, I'm out. Copy and notes. All right, so we got, so number one was continued to next meeting. Number two, re-subdivision 251358, Amy Burnett, Lexi Burnett, Burnett Family Trust, 217 Stone Road.
Actually,
Nope.
the
what?
first one is a zone, if you're going under number 8, that's new business. There's a zone map change. It's an application 25-1357.
Sorry, I just thought that was the one we just did.
No.
Nope, my bad. All right. Is that
That
the
was
one?
under the unfinished business that was continued. This is new business.
All right. Is that the one he stepped out for?
We do have, he's requesting a change from 838 Hartford Pike.
Yep. RD to general commercial.
Mm-hmm. And
And the split
842
zone.
Hartford Pike and 855 Hartford Pike.
Yep.
Change those portions of 838 and 842 that are rural development to general commercial to end the split zoned parcels, and change 855 from rural development to low density classification.
Yep.
We
So-
receive it and we can schedule it for a hearing.
It's all good to go for it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll receive, schedule for a public hearing, not a public hearing, just a hearing? Is it a public hearing?
Yes.
All right,
And whenever
pub-
it's a hearing, it's a public hearing.
All right, public hearing, November 17th, 2025, 7 PM. Do we have a motion to receive and schedule that?
Make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And just for the record, Lorraine, you are voting on this officially, so, because Keith had to recuse himself, I assume. So, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? None. All right. Is that the one Keith was stepping out on?
No, the one that Keith was stepping out on was number 2, which is the re-subdivision.
Oh. You stepped out on that one too, so.
He stepped
all
out
right.
early.
All right, go back out there. Re-subdivision 251358, Amy Burnett, Lexi Burnett, Burnett Family Trust, 217 Stone Road, RD, to create a family subdivision to construct a single-family residence. Receive and schedule a hearing for November 17th or December 15th.
Because that one did come in so late, so you have that option. It came in on Friday, so.
Okay, so, right now we have 2 things on our agenda for November 17th, so I don't think they're big ones. So it's up to the commission if you want to receive it and schedule it for November or December.
I'll make it a motion. Do it on November.
There you go. Excellent. Motion to receive and schedule for November 17th, 2025. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Awesome. November 17th. Want to keep rolling? Motion to adjourn? No.
Anything else that would maybe let Mr. Slater leave? Or?
Option of minutes. This must be here for that.
No. Thank you for your attendance.
So you're out trying to figure out whether it's a variance or
One thing I'll say is, it doesn't, I mean, Commissioner Ferentz comment's a fair one. I think in a modern gas station, I think entrances tend to be larger than 30 feet. So I'd be interested to see, I bet you there's not, I'll take a look, but I don't think we're going to find a section where you'd be allowed to do anything other than change your rule to allow gas stations to have a larger curb cut. Otherwise, they could try to get a variance, but that's, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me in a modern gas station, that seems pretty narrow for vehicles to come in, like the chairman was saying, people coming in with RVs. But as it's written right now, I don't think we're gonna find a waiver provision, so I think you're gonna have to change the rules. They're gonna have to get a variance.
Yeah,
You
the
can do
one-
that on your own, or they can make an application.
Okay, there was one section in special permits, one bullet says the commission can decide the dimensions of, I think, curb cuts and access, stuff like that. Didn't say, but I don't know if that can exceed if it's written in the rule, right?
I've always used a special permit exceeds, it's always been my impression that we could do beyond the regulations with special permit. We've done it.
Usually we can restrict, I know that, I'm not sure we can go
You
beyond.
can ask for more generally, right,
Right,
exactly.
you can ask for
Oh, is that
more,
right?
but you can't, if it says 500 feet, you can't go, I'm gonna give you 400, right? As a
Well, I
buffer,
hate to
right?
go
We can go
back and-
600.
I hate to go back and look at everything we've
So,
done.
Ken, I'd have you look at the first part of the parking regulations too, because it speaks to methodology.
Yep.
Where an applicant can come in with their own traffic load methodology based off an engineer's study. So when we're talking, it doesn't say design, but it does say methodology. I don't know if that would leave a hole.
We'll
Just
take a
throwing it
look.
out there.
We'll take a look.
Between now and the next meeting.
So,
Because it was also, as I said, the fire marshal was excited when he saw, excuse me, he was happy when he saw it was like 35 foot, because he says that's something that actually fits the fire trucks today.
so
Just wanna address the bullet.
if we
I know.
have to either have a regulation change or go to ZBA, this won't happen, should we be asking them for an extension beyond this?
Well, that's all, I was just asking. I don't wanna get into the hearing, I just asked the attorney if he could make sure he looked at that for us and figure out a way to address that.
If we
issue.
can't find a way around it, one thing your commission could do, if it seemed clear from what the fire marshal said and what your experience is, this application could be denied without prejudice, and the commission can take up fixing the regulation, or they can apply to change the regulation. Obviously, that's gonna push things down the road, because you have to have a public hearing on the change.
Right.
But that, are they gonna get a variance? Maybe they will, they shouldn't, under the rules of variances, but people get them all the time and nobody appeals it, but that's a public hearing too. So, after we do our homework, and if it makes sense that 30 be changed, that's probably up, if there's a way in which you could do it, then that'd be great, you wouldn't have to fix it. But if there isn't a way that you can amend it, it seems from what we're hearing, you might wanna take up modifying that bullet point and making it 35. But we'll cross that bridge next month.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. What did I miss? Oh, Paul Sonella. Yeah. Steve, come on. Adoption of minutes, regular meeting, September 15th. Have a motion, please.
I got a very minor typo.
Okay.
It's on page 3. Near the middle of the page, not quite, it says, Ms. Aubrey will request that Attorney Slater get rid of that "to" and just have it, the Attorney Slater address the issue. That's it, that's all I had.
Anybody else? Okay, a motion to adopt. As corrected.
I'll make that motion, we adopt the
Second.
minutes.
Second. Second by Mike Yuko. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Okay. Miscellaneous, we need to discuss anything there, Jonathan?
All we've got here is the
Meeting dates.
Killingley Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dates for the following year, upcoming year.
So that's in our packet? I
That's in
actually
your
didn't see
packet.
it. All right. Correspondence, any questions? Commissioners? Okay, department reports, zoning in the wetlands.
ZBA didn't meet, there was no applications. Wetlands did meet, approved a new rebuild of Cottage, 86 Island Road. There was also a reconstruction approved for 365 Cranberry Bog. They referred that to staff. That's a house that had burned down a couple years ago. And the other one that was referred over to staff was the 7-Eleven store that you just saw tonight because of about 3,780 square feet of fill within the upland review area, but that was it. It was just that toe of that hill.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Square feet, not cubic yards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Square feet.
Economic development?
We've had several ribbon cuttings. Rustic Sunflower at 136 Main Street, the former location of Chop Shop, opened this Saturday. Gloria's Kitchen relocated at 350 Hartford Pike. This coming weekend, Saturday, we have Sway Massage and the relocation of Mariah Lee Photography at 13 Water Street. There'll be a ribbon cutting there. This Friday at 4 o'clock, 4 to 7, at 543 Warregan Road, we have A&E headquarters for car care. And then we have a save the date for November 7th for Cecilani and Tilly at 102 Main Street. We had 2 Brownfield community engagement sessions, one on September 30th at the library, just to give folks updates on the EPA grant, the multipurpose grant, and then we had another session at the Conservation Committee on October 15th. On October 29th, EDC has been invited to participate in the Vision Commission. Our next meeting is November 4th. We're happy to report before the government shutdown that our emergency EPA remediation over at Blueville Mill was completed. You can get updates on our town website. Just put in brownfields or go to the economic development page. They'll give you real-time information from EPA.
There's still more for that? There's still more to be done to that?
Yeah, they closed it out, but pending the shutdown, we have to wait till they reopen to identify, do a little further testing on the unidentified AOCs pre-fire. So they took everything fire-related. But we were able to get authorization before they had to do lights out for phase 2 on the Bailey Hill mill, and we requested a structural analysis on the building that's still next to the waterway. And we've scheduled our next Free Small Business Academy. It'll start on March 17th and run through April 21st at the Killingly Public Library on Tuesday nights from 6 to 8.
Okay. Town council, please.
Okay. The town council tabled consideration and action on a state mandated policies for the library until November 18th to give us more time to look at the policy. Town council approved a 3% salary adjustment for non-union employees. The well contamination in Rogers was added to new business. They were checking the wells for PFAS from the fire academy, and they found that they have PFFOA, which is not related to the foam, and there will be a meeting to discuss this issue. The residents have been provided, or some of them have had water filtration systems installed, being provided with bottled water, but their concerns are that DEEP will only care for that for a year, and after that, it'll be on their expense. From the town manager's report, the Public Works has done substantial work in the fields, and they've installed new dugouts that were donated. The town received 2 signs from DOT that are being installed this week for the speed feedback program. Fall leaf pickup started on October 1st and it'll continue till December 19th. You can call 860-779-5385 385 for a scheduled pickup. The Federated Church contacted the town, and they're turning over South Killingly Cemetery to care for that. The town has been largely maintaining it by default. Sewer moratorium update. The town staff and WPCA chair, technical consultants met with Frito Lake officials, and they're looking for an interim agreement to reduce the flow. Wastewater plant upgrade, the town received a grant contract that should offset the what the town paid by $300,000. The design's not hasn't been fully signed, and they'll be working with DEEP once then there's a notice to proceed, and because DEEP is so slow, they're thinking that it may take up to a year for that. There's going to be a borrowing and bond rating for Standards & Poor to prepare for the ongoing construction of this school and the community center. The KMS Community Center renovation projects, they're progressing very slowly. The community center was supposed to be completed by November 15th, but it will not be, and we're running into a problem because of the election on November 4th. And the Secretary of State said that they can't change the voting unless they declare it a state of emergency. So we were assured that we would still be able to vote in the cafeteria. The fall recreation program and library program brochures are available. They can be found online and at various locations around the town. Spooktacular event will be this Saturday, October 25th. Trick-or-treating from 4 to 6, and then the parade starts at 6. And Jill already talked about the Vision Committee meeting, and that is it.
Motion to adjourn? Sir?
At Rogers facility, training facility, isn't there a retention system there?
So they found that it's not PFAS from firefighting foam. They found that it's PFOA. And there's going to be a meeting tomorrow. There was some information that was discovered, but I don't have all of the information on it. Yeah, they're looking for the source. And someone had mentioned that Goodyear was there, but Goodyear tire, that the PFAS wasn't used until 1940, and Goodyear left in 1935. So they have to find the source, because some of the contamination was pretty bad.
Okay, motion to adjourn? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, thank you.